Hey, it's Ruffian, and it's been a while since I've uploaded. What a surprise! Um, but I promised I'd make a video on BreyerWest, especially that focuses on showing there. I was requested to do this by someone on Instagram. I'll just put their comment down here. And yeah. So, at BreyerWest there are two different shows, just like at BreyerFest. There's the open show and the youth show. Just like BreyerFest, I believe there's an age limit on the youth show, but I think it might be 18 instead of 16. I'd have to double check. But I show in the open show because I regularly show, like, in my region. And so, as you might expect, the open show is a lot more competitive than the youth show. I've, like, watched the youth show, and it's very much geared towards people with not a lot of showing experience because right before the show, the judges kind of walk you through what they're looking for, and they give a lot of helpful pointers, so if you're not very experienced with showing, I would recommend going with the youth show, and if you've done a lot of shows in, like, your region, go ahead and show in the open show. The open show is very competitive. It's got all divisions going at the same time, and then for, like, the original finish division, they split them out in between special run and regular run. So you're not going to see, like, Harley D. Zip going up against a BreyerFest special run. And even still, there's, like, another division for special runs that are runs of, like, I think it's 150 or less. So you're not gonna see, like, a prize model totalist against a JAH connoisseur or something like that. Last year, I showed in the special run and the regular run. And this year I just showed in regular run because in special run, it's a lot of, like, connoisseur horses, and it's really hard to compete against those, so even if you have, like, even, like, BreyerFest special runs don't do so well in that division because I think last year they were also judged on collectability, whereas this year they weren't. I didn't do very well in that division. The classes go pretty fast, so even though you're only allowed to take 50 horses, you still kind of have to, condense your show string and make sure you know what's going on, because there are so many divisions going on at the same time. It's very, very easy to miss a class. It's very important that you have horses in good condition. I remember last year the reason why a Valegro won Grand Champion was because he was missing a seam line on his neck that a lot of other horses had, or that a lot of other Valegros had. So, but every year they have different judges, so they're each looking for different things, so I would make sure, like, the condition of your horse is, like, pristine, and especially if it's a dark horse, that it's well dusted, because when you have so many horses in a ring, it's very important that yours kind of stands out from the others. I remember, I don't think it was this show, I think it was another show, but there was a judge talking about how there was this one horse that, like, it hadn't been dusted off in so long that it actually had cobwebs on it. So hopefully none of your horses are that bad, but just make sure they're nice and clean for the judge. And then after that, make sure you have good breed assignments. Documentation really helps your horse stand out. I wouldn't recommend doing documentation for a normal breed like quarter horse or Appaloosa unless your horse has, like, weird markings or something that you can show, like, hey, this is an actual color that exists. That's probably more something you're gonna see in custom than you are in OF. But if you can find, a horse that has a similar, like, Pinto pattern or Appaloosa pattern, sometimes that really helps. And no, I don't mean like, oh yeah, I have Coochie, so I'm gonna put up a picture of Coochie next to my horse, because everyone knows that that model is Coochie, so yes, of course, that horse is gonna look like the one it was modeled after. But there are judges from, like, all across the US, like, it's not just going to be judges from Region 1, which is really cool for me. Because I've shown at BreyerFest, I know that model horse judging on the East Coast is very different from, like, what they're looking for on the West Coast. So if you're not from Washington, Oregon, Idaho, that area, you're going to see a little bit of different style of judging, which is either going to be really good or really bad, depending on how you see it. And then as far as tables go, I had half a table this year because I couldn't register early enough, because we were out of town. So I think I was given, like, a 4-foot table, half of an 8-foot. It was pretty cramped, especially since I was showing minis, bigs, and custom, but I managed to fit everything there. If you're showing a full 50 string, like, show string, I would definitely recommend trying to get a full 8-foot table. It just gives you more space to like lay everything out, and it gives you space to write stuff, like your horse's placings or whatever. Another thing to do to kind of like help streamline, I guess, is definitely put horses away if they don't get a first or a second. That way you just get them off the table, they're out of the way, you have more space for like maybe your first and seconds and things like that. The way it's set up is the show is kind of like in the corner of the expo hall. So, you know, there's a Breyer corner in like this huge expo hall, and you know, there are vendors like literally right outside where BreyerWest is. So it can get kind of noisy, and it's very important that you listen to the judges because there is a mic, but because so many classes are going at the same time and they have to get out before 5, some judges will not use the mic, just to kind of like speed things up. So it's very important you're paying attention because when a judge isn't using their mic, it's very easy to miss a class because obviously they're not as loud. And I think that's most of the tips I have for showing at BreyerWest. I mean, obviously have fun, talk to the people there. It's really interesting to talk to people who are from different areas of, you know, the United States and different showers, and take pictures, lots of pictures of the pretty ponies, because there's like a few one-of-a-kinds and test models there that you don't normally see at shows. Also, there's some like amazing customs. If you follow me on Instagram, shameless Instagram plug here, I've taken a few photos of some of the horses that I think are impressive. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful and you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please leave a like and comment down below if you have any other tips or if you found any of these helpful. And be sure to subscribe to my channel because I try to upload every week, but lately it's been like every month. So yeah, I will see you next week, or next month, who knows.
Yeah.